The triumph of Khomeini's Iranian revolution has generated a new sense of exhilaration and self-confidence among the world's 800 million Muslims. Today, resurgent Islam, armed with faith, fanaticism and the petrodollar, confronts the rest of the world. Tonight, in three crucial areas, we examine the political and military implications of the Islamic revival.
The Shah was one of the very unique powers. And for 58 years, the Pahlavi dynasty had everything. All the superpowers supporting him. He had a large army, well-disciplined, well-organized, well-trained. He had a very effective security organization, well-known in the world, trained by the Americans, trained by the Israelis. Practically, the Shah didn't have any power to oppose him outside the country, small or big. And yet this gigantic power was collapsed. And the revolutionaries did not receive the help from any other foreign countries.
Dr. Yazdi, many people say that there's a revival of Islam at the moment.
Yes, there is a revival of Islam, and you will see more among the Muslims throughout the world, the revival of Islam and many Islamic revolutions probably throughout the world.
The revolution is far from over. Here at home in the Vatican of Iran's Shia Muslims, the crowds are waiting for Khomeini's Friday appearance. Many believe that Khomeini's revolution is the most important happening this century for Muslims. Essentially, it was a revolt against imposed Western values. Khomeini purged idolatrous Western practices, attacking cinemas, alcohol and immodest dress. Paradoxically, for Sunni Muslims, the crowd's worship of Khomeini would itself seem idolatrous. And to protect his revolution, Khomeini created the Pastorans, a paramilitary force with wide-ranging powers, who on this occasion impassively watched the hysteria of the crowds, a hysteria reminiscent of crowds around Mussolini and Gaddafi. Khomeini has formed a secret 15-man revolutionary council which effectively runs the country, even though a provisional government is the nominal executive. And despite Khomeini's undoubted charisma, the way Iran is ruled is increasingly criticized as reactionary, autocratic and arbitrary. The duality of religious and secular leadership is symbolized by Khomeini's close friend, Dr. Yazdi, the foreign minister and reputed member of the Revolutionary Council. Ayatollah Khomeini has withdrawn to home, but yet he very effectively runs this country. And it is said that you are the Ayatollah's man, his favorite son, and that you effectively run the government, and it's a parallel government. Would you say that's true?
Not at all. No, it is not true. The Ayatollah does not run the government. The Ayatollah runs the revolution. He's the leader of the revolution.
All right, the Ayatollah...
The revolution is not over. You have to understand that one. The revolution is not over. The revolution has not succeeded completely. The permanent Islamic Republic has not been established yet.
And in the meantime, the country is ruled by local committees like Lorsadeh in one of the poorest areas in South Tehran. Running the committee and the Lorsadeh Mosque is the 42-year-old Ayatollah Amit Sanjani. He's responsible for the administration and the welfare of about 600,000 people. Even the local militia are responsible to the Ayatollah. They're mainly raw recruits with little idea of soldiering, but they're armed with looted G3s and Uzi submachine guns. From the mosque's control room, they will be dispatched to various units that patrol the area. Sanjani receives his orders from the Ayatollah, who runs the Tehran Central Committee, who in turn is instructed directly by Khomeini. As the police and army aren't effective yet, everyone comes to Ayatollah Sanjani to sort out their problems. The power of the clergy in Iran was and is immense, and it was in the mosque that opposition to the Shah focused and fermented. The mosque banks could and did supply money to support the rebellion because Shias pay religious tithes to the clergy, not the state. And it was the power of the mosque that the Shah so disastrously underestimated. It is only since his fall that this inner structure has become visible to the world. With unemployment now soaring, people crowd the mosque bank mainly for loans. They need two references, one religious and one commercial, and only when the commercial guarantor's cheque is presented does the borrower get his loan. It would be a mistake to believe that the revolution against the Shah was purely religious. Here, the Tehran Bazaar was a significant factor in the Shah's downfall. The merchants were discontent with the way the Shah and his friends virtually monopolized the trade and contracts of the country. They called several strikes, brought Tehran to a halt, and they also contributed heavily to the mosques. The Ayatollah's parish also covers part of the bazaar, and nearby, late at night, he lectures his flock on morality and warns them to be vigilant against the forces of counter-revolution. The power of the mosque is so pervasive that radio and television are now severely censored, and those in the press who dare to disagree with the dictates of Khomeini risk incurring the wrath of the people. At local level, in Losadeh, there's no doubt who runs their lives. But at the national level, the question remains, who runs Iran, the government or the secret revolutionary council? Dr. Yazdi.
Islamic Revolutionary Council is a body which functions as a provisional, temporary, legislative body in relation with the government, provisional government.
Then who has power, they or you?
No, it's not a power, both of us. Because they are legislative body, we are executive body.
But then why are they secret? In other countries, everybody's...
Oh, that doesn't have anything to do with being a parallel government. When you say that they are secret, it doesn't mean that they are parallel government.
No, but why are they secret?
They are secret because of some security reasons. As a government, I cannot be in a hideout. I cannot run the foreign policy at the same time being a secret. I have to be here, sitting here, so the whole world can see me. But the member of the Revolutionary Council, they don't need to be open.
So to go back to the Revolutionary Council, are you on it?
No comment.
Yazdi's reluctance to answer is understandable when one remembers that the nation is still in turmoil. All leaders are heavily guarded, especially since a few weeks ago a shadowy group calling itself Forgan attacked leading Revolutionary Council members and their close associates. Forgan announced that Yazdi is on their death list. I asked him what he felt about it.
Indifferent. I know that in this revolution, from the very beginning, we were in danger. Any time we may be hit. So this is why I have mentioned that I have written my will. I make my abolition every time that I come. So if they want to do it, fine. I take just precautions.
You say you're transitional, but how do you explain the fact that the Prime Minister didn't know about the execution and didn't approve of Hoveyda, for instance?
Well,
that
all
the
right.
Ayatollahs were doing things that he doesn't know about?
Oh, that's all right. It's very normal and natural. I didn't know it myself. And probably the Ayatollah himself didn't know it because the Revolutionary Tribunal is working and they don't have to tell every one of us what they may do it tonight. You may ask whether I do believe or I do support the modes of their trial. I would say no.
But then if you and the Prime Minister disapprove of the way the trials are going out, you are the government of the country, why don't you stop it?
Because the Revolution Tribunal are independent of the executive power.
What would you say to those of the government's critics who say that it is a very repressive government and that all you have substituted is one form of repression for another?
I think this is quite unfair. I don't know why in the West, when after 30-some years, some of the people, they go to Latin America and hunt some of those SS criminals correctly. You don't raise any eyebrow, you don't raise any voice, you don't say what's the matter. But when we do, when we arrest and try and punish those that they are responsible for the mass murder of our people in such a day as September 8th or 9th, then you people in the West, they cry for human rights.
What's not in dispute is that the mass of people support the revolution and the executions. Even the women take to the streets in support. At this rally, held to celebrate Iranian Women's Day, which coincidentally was also Khomeini's birthday and the Prophet's daughter's day, I saw several women carrying arms. They didn't seem to know a butt from a barrel, but were suitably zealous. As a woman, biologically, you are made to give life. By being armed, you have the ability to take life.
Right.
What do you feel about this? Is there a dilemma in your mind?
No, this is an honor for us to kill whoever kills people, who get life from other people. We don't kill our brothers and sisters. We kill those enemies, those people who are human enemies.
But who decides who is the enemy?
Who decides? We can decide by their behavior, by what they are doing.
During the Shah's regime, women decided to wear the chador as a sign of protest. Now, many feel it's a uniform they daren't abandon for fear of discrimination by the authorities. I asked one woman journalist her views.
Most women see this simply as a symbolic thing, not a major issue itself. And what will count is that on the level of, for example, women being pushed out of jobs or women, other issues related, for example, when the constitution comes up.
But over 99% voted for the Islamic Republic.
But I think what they voted for was not so much Islam or a clear image of what they were voting for. They were basically telling the government their expectations. They voted for something everybody thought in one way or another would satisfy the needs and they would solve their problems. So whether the new government, the new regime, will succeed in using Islam as an ideological cement to consolidate itself will depend on these things, will depend whether the government will come up with answers to these social problems, to what extent they can do it. And this is what they claim they can.
So far, neither the regime nor Islam has come up with any solution to Iran's social problems. The crisis is hammered home at meetings in protest against unemployment figures of over 3.5 million. And beyond the problems of economic recovery lie all the unresolved issues of the Iranian society. In the cities, the poor remain unhoused. In the provinces, the Sunni minorities are restive. In the northwest, the Kurds threaten a bloodbath. In the south, the oilfield workers are in open revolt. But can the Islamic Revolution cure all these problems?
We know that after the World War II, you had the problem of unemployment. I know that after Vietnam War, in Americans they have unemployment. That doesn't have anything to do with our revolution being an Islamic one. But what you don't understand, when you come to judge us, like the Marxists, they don't understand. They say, all right, why this religious revolution? Your concept is good, is effective, is maybe perfect, but only can apply on your own situation.
Fine, but people ask, where are you going? Are you going to be aligned to the east, the west? I mean, particularly, if, say, for instance, in America.
No, we are not going to align with anyone. We are non-aligned. You know that our foreign policy is based in non-alignment, but it is neutral, but it is positive.
Does this mean that you are seeing yourself as an alternative power bloc?
Yes. The idea, not us. The idea to be a positive neutralist.
As an alternative to capitalism or communism?
That's right.
But as Islam straddles the world, that's a fairly powerful power base.
That's right. I do agree with you.
If Islam is to be a new power bloc, the oil tap is the obvious weapon. The Arabs learned that in 1973. Gaddafi has long preached it. Iran is now practicing it, and the West is only beginning to count the cost. The Iranian Revolution is the militant, the messianic face of Islam. 800 million Muslims round the world look here for a new direction. But where will it lead them, and should we in the West fear this Islamic revival?
One thing that I don't understand from you as you Westerners is that when we are talking about the Islamic revolution, and then you shake your head and you say, hey, what's the matter? Why this is Islamic? When I'm talking about the foreign policy based on Islamic ideology, then you are confused. You say, hey, what's the matter with this? Nothing, you see. This is the problem with your definition of religion, your definition of the Islam, and you have to change it, but I cannot change it.